Hi, everyone. My name is Kate Finn. I am a leadership and strategy advisor for high achievers. I guide educators and caregivers to build bigger, better businesses without burning out by learning to prioritize you. I am in today again to talk about another question that kind of comes up, and it comes up in different forms, much like many of the questions I've been talking about in this series. How do I hold boundaries without feeling guilty? And this comes often from the people pleasers in us, patterns that we have learned for whatever reasons, life experiences, trauma, environments that we grew up in, environments in our early careers, whatever that looked like, where we tied our value and our worth to what other people thought about us or what we perceived other people thinking about us. And so, really, this is less about not feeling the guilt and more about creating evidence for yourself that the boundaries matter more than anything. Because when you set a boundary for yourself and you communicate that expectation out to other people around you, or even if it's an internal boundary, when you set that boundary with yourself, that's a commitment that you are making to yourself. And so yourself deserves the follow through. If you've made that commitment to yourself, I want you to think of yourself as worthy enough to stand behind that commitment. And in the early days of making these shifts, that guilt's going to still pop up. That is the reality because you are changing a pattern that you have been operating in most of your life for. But it doesn't mean we don't hold the boundary because we're uncomfortable. We hold the boundary because it's what we decided was in our best interest, our team's best interest, our family's best interest, our people's best interest. Because when we make promises to ourselves and we follow through on them, we build trust with ourselves and we are leading by example, showing the people around us that they can trust us too because we're reliable and we're following through on it and we're honoring our commitment and our promises to ourselves. You need those boundaries so that you can show up as your best self. And there will be a little bit of guilt at first because you are shaking up a pattern. But the more you lean into it, the more you practice it, the more you collect evidence that it's okay, the less intense that guilt feeling will be there. I would love to hear how you practice that this week for yourself.